How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Let's Play Silent Hill 2. Before we go through this door into the Labyrinth, I just want to show off something I recently learned about. Yeah, I had no clue that you could quick swap weapons in this. I think it might be a PC-only feature, but... So I had no idea about that. Zero Hour mentioned that in a comment a while back, around episode 4 or 5, I think? And I thought it was crazy, but no, you could totally do it. So, this place is called the Labyrinth. It looks pretty normal, albeit a little bit disheveled. It's a big maze, though, and if you try to check your map, James is drawing it as you go along. Kind of like Nowhere from Silent Hill 1. And you have to have your flashlight on to draw the map, which is also pretty cool. Oh, and there's Pyramid Head. So we'll go the opposite way. And mandarins are back. Yeah, I'm glad they appear again. Didn't get to talk about them before. They represent James clinging to hope. And they're always dangling just above a pit, never able to quite pull themselves fully up. Which shows how frayed James's psyche has become. And he's constantly on the edge of falling into this despair-filled abyss. And we just picked the great knife up, which you can lug around, scraping against the floor, very cool, just like Pyramid Head. And it's got two different attacks. So Silent Hill 2 was designed with the PlayStation 2's analog buttons in mind, so if you hit the melee button softly, you do the horizontal swing, but if you hold it down and press it hard, he does that overhead. I find the location of this pretty interesting, because Pyramid Head abandons the great knife after kicking you off the roof at Brookhaven, and then you find it down here. We've established the phallic imagery of it, but it also represents something else. It symbolizes dragging around a heavy burden. Since we're getting closer to the end of the game, we're also getting closer to the truth of what James's burden is, so I think that's why it transfers from being dragged around by James's monster to James having to shoulder it himself. I'm also going to speculate here, or say something at least based on what we know so far, so as not to completely spoil anything. James had to watch Maria die. He had to watch it happen slowly, as she was overcome and disfigured by some unknown disease. Oh, by the way, the idea of this cubic metal room, you see door-shaped divots around here, we have to use this box to rotate that so we can progress forward. So, I think what's going on here, my speculation, is that when someone's in that kind of situation, sometimes you feel not only grief at the loss of a loved one, but also relief, because at least that person isn't suffering anymore. But you also feel like a horrible human being for feeling relieved. It's this tremendous kind of inner turmoil, and that might be part of the deal that James is carrying with him.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before, don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
I love the way that that cutscene is framed. It's very deliberately set up in such a way that it makes it ambiguous as to who is actually in the jail cell. Because it's intentionally shot so that no matter which angle the camera is showing you, it looks like they're both behind bars. It's a very, very cool shot. Also, Maria's butterfly tattoo can start to make a little bit more sense here. A lot of you guessed that it symbolized change or metamorphosis, which I could see why, and it's not even super far off, but I think the actual reason behind it is because butterflies are a common symbol of rebirth. Maria is reborn after we saw her die at the hands of Pyramid Head a while back, and then there's also her connection to Mary, which is not a literal reincarnation, the way you kind of see it as a cliche in a lot of media, especially anime. But there is a rebirth that has occurred. There's also some moth symbolism that we've seen, which will make more sense down the line. Moths and butterflies are kind of symbolically linked, like different sides of the same coin. Okay, this shouldn't be too hard to navigate. A lot of these underground areas are just big circles. And plus, the labyrinth is pretty small overall. It's not a huge area of the game, so getting lost isn't too bad. It's a little bit tough to get lost, actually. It's not as confusing as you might think. It's also one of the most abstract locations in the game because we've spent so long just going down and down and down. It's geographically nonsense. Like, it is nowhere. And there's no map. James is drawing it as he goes along. It's actually like Nowhere from Silent Hill 1. And it's this big twisted maze that actually has some symbolic importance itself. It symbolizes the kind of tangled psyches of everyone who's here. We'll see Eddie later, we've seen James, we've seen Angela, and they have to work through this tangled labyrinth, figuratively and literally, to get to the heart of their various traumas and baggage. I think for that and for some of the stuff that's coming up, this might be my favorite area of the game, and that changes all the time. Like, sometimes I'll say Brookhaven, sometimes I'll say the prison, sometimes I will say the labyrinth. Sometimes I'll say the area that's coming up after the labyrinth. There's a lot going on here, though. Like, it's a bland-looking area, but there's so much in the way of symbolism that you get to sink your teeth into down here. I think I hated this area the first time I came here, though. Like I say, it's hard to get lost, but I managed. I managed. I think I just want to take a left here and go right up this ladder. That's the thing that makes this area a little bit confusing, is just how many times you go up and down ladders. Let's see, there's a newspaper here that is stained with blood. this is kind of your sign that you're going the right way. The body of a man later identified as Thomas Oro something, lumberjack, age 39, was discovered in the something room lying, I'm gonna say face up or face down. The probable cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the front of the neck and the left side of the torso by a sharp-edged weapon. The estimated time of death was somewhere between 11 p.m. and 12:30 midnight. Due to signs of struggle in the room and the lack of a murder weapon, police are considering this is a homicide and have opened a murder investigation. Furthermore, given the fact that the cash in the room was untouched and Mr. Oro something had a history of drunkenness and violence, the police suspect that was not a robbery, but instead, yeah, not sure what. It was a crime of passion, is what they suspect. Some of the stuff that's obfuscated or redacted there is really obvious, like body and time of death and stuff like that, estimated. Other stuff they redact because it would spoil an upcoming plot point, like his name. But we're about to learn more about it anyway, so like the newspaper we found back there, this hallway is littered with them.
Daddy, please don't!
Hearing Angela cry out, "Daddy, stop," James stumbles into a boss fight with the Abstract Daddy, which is two people on a bed having sex, trapped between sheets of skin. And the bottom one you can hear occasionally moaning and screaming like Angela did. The original name for this boss was Angela's Papa. Yeah.
Are you okay? Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I'm not trying to order you.
So what do you want then? Oh, I see. You're trying to be nice to me, right? I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing.
No, that's not true at all.
You don't have to lie. Go ahead and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like he always did. You only care about yourself anyway. You disgusting pig.
Angela.
Don't touch me! You make me sick. You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
Yes. She was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
That's ridiculous. I never...
And now we have a lot of really distressing stuff to unpack, starting with this horrendous room with a very obvious innuendo of all the fleshy walls full of holes, with the metal pistons thrusting in and out. What we learned is that Angela was repeatedly molested by her father, and she eventually killed him. So we have a few things that we can work back through, like We found the coin of the prisoner from the apartments, and it depicted a woman on it, and it was linked to Angela, and now we know why. Also, when we find her in the apartments contemplating suicide with a knife, James convinces her not to do it, and then asks her for the knife, and she agrees, but when James goes to take the knife away from her, she brandishes it at him, and tries to cut him. And now, given her history, it makes a lot more sense. The last thing is the tablet of the Seductress that we found in the shower room in the prison. Some of you thought that was supposed to represent Maria, which does make sense because she's very flirty, but no, that's confirmed to be linked to Angela. You find it in a place of extreme vulnerability, for one. Plus, being a victim of a crime like rape, I think the idea is that you find it there because it's a way of saying that being molested made her feel dirty and just endlessly tainted. So I'm looking for the guy who was accused of arson, and until I find him, I'll just talk through the rest of this. The phrasing is what throws people off. Seductress. And even I'm not a big fan of it because it's a very popular victim-blaming tool in the case of sexual assaults, especially. Like, oh, she was asking for it, stuff like that. So Seductress makes it sound like that, but I think that might be what they're going for, in a way. Like, she's branded with that stigma, and maybe she's internalized that and blamed herself. It's actually depressingly common for victims to blame themselves because the human brain's really good at rationalizing things even when those rationalizations are horrible. It's part of something called the just world hypothesis. We want to believe the world is just and that bad things happen to bad people and good things happen to good people as a way of shielding ourselves from feeling vulnerable. And now we're going to take a tonal U-turn. Dead men, swinging in a tree. Oh my god. How many dead men do you see? Tongue turned blue and face gone gray. Watch them as they twist and sway. The first one killed the butcher man, then cooked him in the frying pan. Served him to his hungry guests and gave them seconds on request. Oh, I can't take the tone shift. It's so drastic. The next one, with his smile and sweets, stole poor children off the streets. To men who dressed unsavory, he sold them into slavery. Oh, breaking into a home at night, the thief he had a nasty fright, filled his foolish head with ale, woke in the morning in the county jail. It's like a jump rope rhyme. The artist with his daunting skill tried his hand at painting bills, but caught in rain he was undone when the ink he'd used did start to run. Fuck, I messed the flow of that up. With promises of great return, taking gold he did not earn, bundled it up out of sight, quietly slipped off into the night. That one doesn't blow so well. 3 houses into ashes burned. The sheriff, with no place to turn, did spy a stranger to his town, locked him up and beat him down. Dead men, swinging in a tree. How many dead men do you see? 6 feet long and 6 men wide. Round their necks the noose be tied. After coming off of talking about Angela and her very complex character arc, go into that tonal shift of like the jump rope rhyme flow of that, it fucked me up bad. It's so weird and uncomfortable. So this this noose over here in the corner is where the guy who was accused of arson is. So there was a murderer, there was a kidnapper, there was a thief, there was a counterfeiter. The one with the gold is supposed to be, I think, an embezzler. And then this last one, the arsonist, or the accused arsonist. From that memo, there were 3 houses that were burned to ashes, right? But the sheriff of the town couldn't figure out who did it, so he turned and accused the guy who was a stranger in town of doing it and hung him for the crime. But the important part is that he was never proven guilty, so that is the rope that you pull. And then you come back in here and you get the key of the persecuted. That's the whole point of the puzzle. You're looking for the one who is not proven to be guilty. Oh, no, I thought that's where I was supposed to go. Maybe I have to find a ladder and come up from the other side? Hold on. This is the hallway with the... Yeah, this is Angela's hallway. Oh, damn it. I know what I missed. There's a padlock or a pair of handcuffs on the gate or something that I must have just not seen. Yeah, there we go. This is where you use the key of the persecuted we just picked up. Fittingly, we use it on a pair of handcuffs. Dead men, swinging from a tree. How many dead men do you see? Yeah, it's like one of those rhymes you say when you're jumping rope. That's the way it flows. Oh, it's so weird. Especially for the subject matter, the tonal clash there gets me. Talking about kidnappers and murderers to this jaunty jump rope rhyme. Wait a minute, I don't need to use the persecuted key on that, right? No, I think I come back to this later. It's always good to check, especially after I missed the padlock just now, or the handcuffs just now.
Maria? Maria? Maria, no! What happened to you? Why?
Well, we found our way back to Maria again, and once again, she's died for the second time. And it looks like she succumbed to whatever illness she was hinting at having back in Brookhaven Hospital. And the important part is that she dies with her face totally disfigured. These bubbling lesions all over it. Kind of like the Bubblehead Nurses. That's kind of the motif they were going for there. Also very reminiscent of how Mary died, disfigured by her disease. Before we cap this off, I'm looking for an ampoule that I know is around here that I haven't been able to find. Ah, well, we'll investigate this graveyard, which... yeah, we'll investigate it more when we pick up with the next episode, which might very well be the finale. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.